Mesos. Somebody gave us a chick.
Bring us orphan chicks.
Yeah, everybody would bring guinea pigs and squirrels and everything. They called us the camp vets, so they'd bring us everybody that was abandoned, and there were lots who were abandoned. So lots of chickens were abandoned, chicks. So they brought us a chick. Oh, I don't know how many days old. So put her into safekeeping without any guidance. She's got to be in a cage, because she could wander off and be dead within minutes.
You have to keep them warm.
Right, yes, at that age. So this is summertime, so we had all the other birds, you know, Percy Shelley was around at that time.
I don't know, love, to tell you the truth. Percy Shelley, definitely. Probably the pigeons.
Oh yeah, Leo Sue and King Hezekiah. And so she's in a cage, and everybody would be outside during the day, because we basically lived outside in the camp. So I would like to be around as much as possible, us all sitting there, being there together. And when I would get up to go to do anything, she'd start peeping and crying, like, "Mommy, come back." Right? Remember?
Yeah, she didn't want to be separated from him for a minute.
When I came back, she was happy. Mesos, M-I-S-O-S. And it was harrowing just to watch it. Come on, do it. The kids, that's too high, they're so small. They won't make it. It's impossible. But they did it.
Yeah.
They would try, sometimes it would take a half hour.
Yeah, they're very protective. And we have one hen here to this day. She still raises, she doesn't lay eggs anymore, but she'll steal somebody else's eggs and hatch
Do
them.
you want her to eat the cat food?
There isn't anything there, love.
Okay.
They call them up. You know, the baby is like very focused on the mother. They're also focused on each other. Like if something happens to the mother, the chicks still want to be together as a group. They want to be with each other. But when the mother goes up in the tree, she calls, and you know, I think she picks a place where it's possible for the chicks to use branches to get up to her. But she's up there, and they're gonna have to come up. So they'll come up, sometimes they fall, do it again. It can take a good hour for them all to get up there. And then she'll lead them higher up into the tree. We once had a mother hen who just had one chick, and she would take him way up in this pine tree. And I remember one day I'm looking, and she's up there, and there's a rooster up there with her, and the chick, way up there. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, a rooster's up there, that doesn't look too good. And just as I think that, the rooster goes flap, 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 and down comes the chick. So after that, he was our chick. We took care of him because he couldn't get back up so high, you know, and it was late. Generally, the roosters are quite good with chicks. Every now and then they get a little mean, but I've never actually seen them really hurt a chick. But they'll pick them up and the chick won't like it. Right before sunset, they start to roost.
That was told at the Seventh-day Adventist Church, where there was a fire in a compound, and they came in the morning, and there was all this destruction, and there was a hen, charred, dead body, and underneath her were all her live chicks. So she would not abandon them and save their lives, and suffered obviously great pain and misery So they are devoted. People don't want to brag about the great characters that people have. Talk about devotion. She probably could have made it out. In the woods, right here, to my left, April 8th, 2015. We lived here a year and a month. And we hear this echoey calling. Seems to be coming from there. And it sounds like a cat, but it's very amplified. It's loud and echoey. So you know it's not a cat, but it sounds similar to a cat. But so, you know, we heard different beings that live in the woods. It wasn't like, you know, what is that? Whoever it is, kind of.
But you did say, what's that?
Well, maybe, I don't remember.
Yeah, you did.
But nonetheless, afterwards, somebody came up to the front of the house, right behind
A
me.
neighbor.
Well, yeah, somebody we didn't know.
Yeah.
And they said, "Is that your peacock?" And I said, Marilyn said, "Who? You know, where? What?"
A peacock?
I can't remember, you know, exactly. Peacock? Okay, no, it's not our peacock. And I don't remember how much time went by, but I guess Marilyn went to investigate, and there he was. Marilyn went to give him food, and I guess the other people approached him too, from what they said. And he ran deeper into the woods.
Oh, he ran like the wind. He didn't like anybody.
And so Marilyn went to give him some food, and he ran away also. And then tell him what happened next.
So Michael said, let me see what I can do. And he went out there, and all she did is go like, and out came the Joe. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. And he was here every day since then. Never missed a day, except there was one day he missed. There was a hurricane. Usually we brought him in during a hurricane, but he didn't always cooperate.
I bumped with him.
Yeah.
He stayed in the same room with me overnight, a number of nights.
But there was one hurricane where we didn't capture him in time. And so he was out for the hurricane. And then he was missing for a day. But he came back.
But
He must have gone deep into the woods didn't like wind. You can imagine with that huge tail, the wind is
you
difficult.
see the tree right above the chicken house?
Yeah.
That was his tree. I figure that's my reward for feeding so many baby birds, to get a friend like that. But then, why does he get killed by a car? It's hard to figure the universe. Right now he would be at that window.
Yeah. He was very, very involved with us. Not like the chickens. The chickens, they like us, but they have their own agenda. You know, they like each other.
But he would sit on the porch
But
with
he
me.
wanted to know what we were doing all the time. He'd sit on the porch and look in. He'd sit by that window and watch us. He'd follow us when we went outside. He was very, very attached. Yeah, he really liked us. And you see that road, it's not that dangerous, a road. Well, there are maniacs on it. There's not that much traffic.
I have to say this. People are saying vegan, 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 and I'm doing it for the animal, and it's a very nice motto, and everybody likes to sound like they're such wonderful giving beings. But I've come across a lot of quote-unquote vegans on Facebook who, you know, quite a number with groups and everything that love GMOs and petrochemicals and allopathic medicine and think you're crazy if you talk organics and independent holistic medicine. And there are ones that love meat-eating politicians, even Adolf Hitler. And they love highly processed vegan foods. If you tell them, hey, the hexane gas is poisoning the animals, they don't want to hear it.
They get mad.
A number of vegan products
Like Guardian.
are made, Gardein, Impossible Burger, Beyond Meat. They're made with soy protein isolate. In order to create that, you really got to pulverize the soybean, like with chemicals. And hexane gas is used to process it. So you're spewing all this stuff out into the atmosphere. How is that helping the animals? I mean, Kevin Lacey, who does a podcast, blocked me because I said, poisoning animals is not helping animals. It's a transition, and a lot of meat-eating people need the transition. Okay, all right, if that's what's going on, and that really is in the making, then that's a good aspect. But other vegans who claim to be knowledgeable, devoted vegans, you have to move on. You know, you can't be stuck in that petrochemical, and too many think that's the last stop. We can go on eating Gardein and Impossible Burgers and Beyond Meat. Allopathic is an insane alternative. That's the one that's an alternative. Alternative to sanity is modern medicine, the way people have developed.
Well, in the camp we had blueberry bushes everywhere. They bared quite a lot. And I could never figure out why we never had any blueberries in our area or in the camp. It was because the chickens ate them all. They ate so many blueberries their poops were blue. More like purple.
My thing is, and I think it over and over and over like a mantra, the most popular person in the world, in people history, whatever you want to call it, human history, is JC. And to me, it's mind-blowing that this guy, whoever, this woman, this person, practiced, taught, commanded pure vegetarianism, veganism, and nobody knows it and nobody follows it. 2 billion supposed followers, and most of them eat horror slaughterhouse. It boggles the mind. Here's their savior, Son of God, God incarnate, who was pure vegetarian and vegan, commanded it, and none of them want to acknowledge it, let alone follow it, which is what should be the basic requirement of being a supposed Christian. So that's my life, to bring that to the churches so that it comes to actualization. You have experience because you're trying to communicate this with people, and most of them are resistant, and most of them eat MEAT. It's so compounded, convoluted, that you don't know where to start it in, but you do have to start it in. You know, it's like you have to take it apart because they're coming at you with excuses all the time. I made up a little word called excusenists. But you can't eat meat. It says you can eat meat. And you have dominion over the animals. The Jews said, whatever my rabbi says. You know, Christians said to me, animals have no souls. So you can do anything to them. And I came across an Old Testament translated into English. And I'm reading the first page. And it wasn't that the animals are created for you, like to say that they're created for you. The animals were created on the 6th day, accordingly before people were. And what it said in this Old Testament Bible, it didn't contain the New Testament. I have the book here. It said, living souls, that the animals are created with living souls. So that's totally fallacious for them to say that we can do what we want, we can eat them, because they don't have souls. Their own Bible says it. Just because it's expunged doesn't mean that it's not real. And it's expunged, how would you say, with a tactic in mind. In other words, it's expunged to try and promote meat eating and speciesism. But if you want to really get down to the real texts, that's the reality of it. So animals do have souls. So I proceeded to look it up in Hebrew, and it said nefesh chaim, like chaim, like when the people drink, to life, like souls living souls. And I went all over Lakewood, stopping Hasidic and Orthodox Jews, asking them what nefesh chaim meant, and I got confirmation. So yeah, animals have living souls. So if their excuses, we can eat them and we can whatever, it's not real. They're not paying attention to their own religious, spiritual requirement. You know, it comes down to cannibalism. You know, animals are so much like us with souls and eyes and hearts and gallbladders and livers. And another one is we have dominion over the animals. You probably heard this? Okay, well, I figured, you know, why not really look into these things that people use all the time? So very simply, use your dictionary and look at the word dominion. So you look up the word dominion and you see, you know, it's from the Latin. Etymologically, it's dominus. Dominion, dominus, D-O-M-I-N-U-S. And that means Lord. So you see Lord and Master. So then look up Lord and Master and the definitions and the connections. And what it says there, Lord and Master, to serve, to nourish. So if we're given dominion, we're to serve and nourish. You know, not to dominate as has come to be. The word dominion, dominus, Lord, actually means to serve and to nourish. And the word itself is just fantastic. Look at the word Lord. It's a breakdown of loaf, ward, warden, like to dole out, like the warden of the loaves. Like, in other words, warding out the loaves of grain to be disseminated. That's what the word Lord means. So the word Lord right there is to serve and nourish. So the word has been completely abused, turned on its head. People should get real with using language. I came across this and I like it a lot. There's pejoration and melioration, where you take language and you distort it for personal agendas. Like dominion, it actually means the opposite of what people have come to have in me. It means to be humble and grateful and gracious, you know, and give grace. If I'm superior, if I'm a mother and father, I serve my children. I don't eat them. I don't imprison them. You read Food for the Gods, other good books. That's what religion really is about. From Buddhism to Christianity to Judaism, Islam, it runs a gamut. People don't allow you to question the Bible. So you have to deal with what is there. As far as I'm concerned, hey, it could take days, but it's worthwhile. You could go into the churches, you could go in with enough literature to show that who they called Jesus was an Essene, Nazorian, Nazarite, Nazarene, who were pure vegan vegetarian. And that's what they taught, and that's what they spiritually commanded, right? And you'd have to deal with the Bible, with them coming back at you. Well, no, well, look at the Bible says this. And there are instances that they refer to. You know, everybody has the same, well, look here, it says, the feeding of the multitudes with the fishes and the loaves. And again, if you go over this, here you find that that's not true either. Even according to the Bible, only the loaves were utilized in the feeding of the multitudes. The reason it's important is that, for example, Pastor Rob from the Humanitarian Church, excuse my expression, God bless him, still love him even if we're alienated, and even if he hates me, we still really love each other underneath it all. I have my good points and I have my bad points, that we all do, and he does. But admire him for, on some level, for being such a staunch, militant vegan. He decided to make me a reverend, legally. He first said minister of kindness, and then it became reverend of compassion, and then it was ordained vegan deacon. Actually, it was reverend deacon of compassion, ordained vegan deacon. And I couldn't want a better title in creation than that. And it's not like a question of going around, hey, I'm an ordained vegan deacon. It's a question of saying, hey, maybe I earned this because I tried to learn things, and I'm trying to communicate something that's very, very real and totally necessary. And I have credentials. Look, I have legal credentials where people could say, hey, maybe the guy actually has something here. So that's my angle. If people have more respect for that, and they realize that Jesus was vegan, that's the name of the game. You're dealing with all these things of the excursionists. But it says here that Peter went on the roof and the animals came down and Peter was told to kill and eat. You know, you have to deal with all these things, but they can be dealt with. Another person who was made a reverend by Pastor Rob messaged me and said, I'm communicating with the Christians and I'm telling them that Jesus was vegan. That's my bag. I seem to be the only person who's yelling it from the mountaintops. It's so important that this person, this guy, this God, was vegan. It's like such a monumental matter because everybody follows him. So follow him. She was saying to me, she's conversing with these Christians on Facebook and they're mocking her about Jesus being vegan, and they point to the Bible, the feeding of the multitudes. How could he be vegan if this, you know, right? If it says as such in the Bible. And go over the material. It's the emperor's new clothes. Over and over and over, people make up things. That's not the way it is in the Bible. But you know, but this is so important. For what purpose at all do people eat cows and pigs and chickens, etc.? Why? They'll tell you for nutrition. Where? Where is the scientific proof that that is not only not necessary, but it rips your body apart? It rips the earth apart. How many thousands of years is it going to take for people to get with it? Rim Berry kind of got me started in 1998. Rim Berry's an outstanding author who passed a few years ago. I knew him pretty well. We would speak at least every week. And Nancy Kogel, the great Grace Weaver, we did a program on BAI and had him on as a guest on December 25th, known as Christmas Day, 2006. And Rim Berry was a guest, and that's what we were specifically speaking about. Food for the Gods is vegetarianism in the world's religion is monumental. It's just one of the great books of all time. Covers all of them, from Buddhism to Jainism to Taoism to Hinduism to Judaism to Christianity to Islam. Covers all of them. And everybody said, in order to be spiritual, in order for us to be sane, ethical, ecological, humane, we have to live peacefully on the planet. And a prime essence is growing food from a garden naturally and eating what the earth supplies. Not to imprison someone with a heart and a soul and a child and a family and exploit them and abuse them and butcher them and to eat their flesh. I don't know why I thought of this, but I made up a little joke, I guess you could call it. There was a book that was famous and a movie made of the book, and it was famous too, called An American Psycho. I happened to see it a few years ago. That was a pretty good movie, you know, and it prompted me to think, what's the difference between an American Psycho and your average American? Well, an American Psycho has mutilated body parts and bodily emissions in his refrigerator. And your average American has mutilated body parts and bodily emissions in their refrigerator. I don't know what planet I'm from, but I cannot fathom that people eat what they eat. And it's true. You don't eat your sisters and your brothers. And if you need milk as an infant, you get it from your vegan mother, your own mother.